So I think it's this one, right? So right axis, setting some expectations. I don't think it's fair to call this a mid-scope, even a slight one. It's a balance change that needs visual effects to work. In addition to the movement speed, Empower E is going to give some lingering armor and MR scaling off of level and bruiser items for about 4 seconds. Numbers still being tuned. The goal is to add, I think 4 seconds is a shit long while. They'll probably nerf it to 3 or 2.5. The goal is to add a tuning lever bias towards solo lanes and bruiser builds and to address the place of Empower E in its overall gameplay loop. We understand that this is not a silver bullet for every problem top Panth has had. Hopefully it gives us a tuning lever, but it's certainly not more than a small bump to our ability to balance him for top lane. This does not mean we intend Panth to always be built bruiser or tanky. He hooks into a lot of the areas of the item system, and that's a good thing. Good. So they do recognize this. Yes, he's one of the only champions in the game that uses the majority of the items in runes compared to other champions. When visual effects are ready, we can ship the change. We'll assess exactly how much we want, and whatever. If it's not enough, they'll buff him. But again, like, this does nothing, man. It does nothing. In addition to the movement speed burst, Empower E is going to give some lingering armor, MR scaling off of level and bruiser items for about 4 seconds. From what he said, I think he said his current numbers are 10 to 40. That's the scaling. 10 to 40, level 1 to 18, right? And the scaling is based off of bonus HP. But like, what's that going to do, man? So I can survive 4 seconds longer against Darius, against Irelia, who's still going to auto me to death, against Jax, who's going to auto me to death, against Irelia, who's just going to auto me to death, against Volibear, who's going to W me to death, against Set, who's just going to continue punching me to death, against Yorick, who's just going to auto me to death, kill me with the Maiden, against Trundle, who's just going to bonk me to death with his auto attacks. What's 40 lingering armor and MR going to do? Against Olaf, who's going to continue auto me to death, like, okay. Against Camille, who hits true damage on me, okay. Like, great, I get to be slightly tankier for 4 more seconds. How am I supposed to kill them, though? Right, actually, we don't need to be more tanky, we don't need to be more survivability, we don't need more utility, we need damage buffs. Pantheon does not do enough damage when you hit mid to late compared to other champions in the game. That's what he truly lacks. And it's crazy, absolutely crazy, how Riot has not realized this or recognized this since the inception of this champion. Since this champion was created, since he was reworked back in Season 9, during summer, they are still missing the ball. They still don't understand that his main issues when he is weak is damage. It is not utility buffs where, oh, let's lower down the cooldowns of this. No, because if you lower cooldowns, you're just going to break more roles, right? Right? He doesn't just play top lane, he plays jungle, he plays mid, plays support. Cooldown nodes are terrible. I think it would be, especially on the Q, right? Buffs all roles, and then he becomes a Giga Flex pick again. You don't want that. It's better to... Right now, it's the same. In 2024, it's still the same. Today's April 25th, 2024, Thursday. Riot Axis. He was the guy who worked on this rework too. Still does not recognize damage is his main issue and concern when he's weak. Back in 2021 or 2020, I forgot which. Riot Flox, same thing. I tried to propose as... Oh, actually, no. Riot Flox is a bit better, though. Okay, I take that back. Riot Flox was a bit better because he implemented... Yeah, I think 12.7. This was also Riot Axis's work. For some reason, he thought we needed some distance changes on the Q. And, okay, slow removed on the Aegis Assault. This was okay change, but again, it's all utility QOL buffs. They don't help you kill the opponent quicker when you're in mid to late game, which is the main issue. These are all superficial buffs that don't really change anything. Landing channel time reduced by a slight bit. Wow, great. All utility buffs right here, 12.7. And if you don't count these 3, he actually got nerfed. Base HP region reduced by 1.5. He actually got nerfed this patch. In terms of pure raw stats, because, you know, if you're talking about 1v1s, fighting the guy to the death, you actually got nerfed. Because if you're hitting your Qs anyways, this Q change doesn't do anything. No change. Your E, no change. Right? You're using E in a fight reactively. And your ulti, you're not... They keep thinking that he needs all these utility buffs. But yeah, the thing is too, look, going back to going back to 10.25, right? So this was the patch I worked with Riot on. Base movement speed, yes, whatever. Dude, first, I didn't even think of... this was not me, man. Cooldown refund increased to 60% from 50. Like, this was Riot Flox. I don't know what's Riot's obsession with, like, having his Q, like, on a Giga spammable ability. I just don't get it. Riot thought we need lower Q cooldown back in Discord. And this is what Riot Axis has been saying. So the numbers we've been testing is 10 to 40 by level, max at level 16. Oh, it's not 18. Okay, max at 16, 2.5% bonus HP for 4 seconds. We estimate that will increase at 1%. 10 to 40 armor is actually a shit ton, especially at level 16. But yeah, I mean, I think this just buffs my Glass Cannon one-shot build if you play that style. Like, not only do we get a one-shot them and get phase rush, and now we get phase rush plus aftershock as we one-shot them. And then Edge of Night can get a slight increase onto this 40. So we can get almost 50 resistance, armor, and MR, which is not bad. But I don't think, like, this fixes a lot of his problems. And then Riot Axis says that and a surprising amount of additional power in extended trades in laning phase, the kind that'll happen against Darius. It doesn't matter against Darius. He wants to fight you in a long, drawn-out duel. He wants to max stack his passive, get full stacks into the super true damage ulti. Me being a little bit more tanky by expending Power E does nothing in this matchup. It just allows him to get his free stacks on his apprehend, and then he just kills me anyways. My damage is not increased. That's the main issue. I don't have the damage to kill this guy. Giving me a bit more resistance does absolutely nothing. We have to expend our passive empowerment. And then we do... Like, he still doesn't understand how this champion works. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is just backwards logic. He doesn't understand how the champion works. My hope is to ship it with a damage or cooldown buff as well. Damage is what we're talking about, but we don't need cooldown, whatever. Either Q or E cooldowns going down change a lot for him, or W, power W damage. Damage is a little hard to work around right now because the support build is the value burst build. Then you buff damage in a way where it's scaling, not where he gets it early on. This way, it doesn't affect early laning support shenanigans. And Panth always has the lowest level in the game, so he doesn't get to access his later stages of scaling damage buffs. This is where my ulti buffs come in, correct? Panth support's always going to hit level 6, sure, but he's not going to hit it first. Not just that, it'll just be a slight buff in damage, not significant. And then the next one, this guy's saying, oh no, but if we do damage buffs, it's going to buff his support build. Yeah, so you upgrade the scaling on his R. Make it so he can only access these if he's, and they're useful damage buffs, if he plays in lane or jungle. Because even if you support, bro, who cares? You get slight increased armor pen, level 11. The game might be over by then. Everybody already has damage tools, protection tools, Knight's Vow, Tabbies, Celestial Opposition, Seraphs. All this shielding, this tanking, like, you don't have to, like, the damage he's thinking about on W damage increase and power W damage increase, it's like the flat stuff, right? Or you buff the early game ratios on this. Nobody's talking about buffing early game ratios. Either Q cooldown or E cooldown, like, again, who's talking about cooldowns, bro? His cooldowns is already fine. You don't need no cooldown nerf. And then he talks about, is that critique more, this isn't actually going to make him stronger, or is it this actually going to make him a lot stronger, but in a way that we don't like? The former, if true, is really easy to fix, 5% armor pen on R passive, or faster Q. Or E cooldown, or more W damage, the latter's more concerning. This is actually going to make him a lot stronger, but in a way that we don't like. Why don't you like this? I don't understand. Like, do you even know how Panth works? How is this a bad change? Like a broken change. How is it a broken change? You've already lowered his damage by a shit ton. You've nerfed all the keystones since last year. You've nerfed the damage from the items since last year. Mythic passive. I don't think Lethality Pantheon can afford to empower E over Q very often except to end a trade, and that's usually by running away super fast. This guy should watch how I play my one-shot build. I'm not sure if he knows my one-shot build or not, but that's even stronger than the Lethality build. Oh, there you go. So he did say Lethality Bork builds, yeah. This just buffs my one-shot build even more. I mean, not damage, but in survivability. I don't think it needs it anyways. Right now, no Pantheon using power E very often. It's a little bit broken as part of the toolkit, to be honest. Not useless or anything, but not stable to any pattern. Like, bro, you should just see how I play Pantheon. And Uso, like, Uso knows what I do. So that's why he's trying to explain it to him. But again, unless this guy actually sees what I'm doing in action, he won't get it. So, like, I don't know. Maybe someone can link him like me just destroying using my one-shot build and my combos. But unless this guy actually sees what I do with Empower, or like, I don't want to use Empower E, but, you know, I have to. Then he's not going to get it. Because he keeps thinking Pantheon is like, he only sees Pantheon by being played lethality, like 3-4 stack combo, W auto empower QE, or he's, you know, playing bruiser build or something. That's the only play styles I think he is aware of. He's not aware of my one-shot build, or my Bork style, how I use my combos, etc., empower E, etc. And it's better than both of them. If you are climbing in Master and Under, it's the strongest. But yeah, I don't think he's aware of it, so that's why he's saying this. Not a lot. A lot of Panth, it's literally just IQ. It's an IQ diff. If you know what to build and you know what combos to use and you know how to macro, wave management, be at the right place, right time, how to find picks, then you're going to do great. It's not about having... I feel like Panth could definitely get, like, a shield break for free. Right here. I feel like Pantheon, a really good buff, if you really don't want to touch his damage ratios, is to give him a shield break on his Empower W. Almost every single champion in the game, and their mothers, and their grandmas, and their dogs, and their cats, has a shield in their kit, or they build a shielding item, and of course, that is one of the biggest counters to Panth. Because it absorbs reverse damage, and then you have high cooldowns, and then they just kill you. So, going off that, Renekton has been gifted a free Serpent's Fang in this kit. Could you imagine if Renekton doesn't have that mechanic? I feel like people would be calling for more Renekton buffs if they didn't give him that. But yeah, for those that don't know, Renekton's W destroys all shields. I feel like Panth W could also do that. And that would be a really good damage buff without actually buffing damage. Right? Because almost every single mage in the game right now builds Seraph's Embrace, and that thing gives a gigantic shield. And obviously, yeah, it counters you quite a bit. Or 80 carries, sometimes during late game, they're gonna go shield bow, etc. All these shieldings, like... You now have to break shielding on top of the armor that they might have. And as a champion that doesn't have a steroid ult, or, you know, an actual in-combat ult, it becomes harder and harder to one-shot people later on in the game compared to other actual built assassins, or bruiser champs or duelist champs that, you know, basically created what they're supposed to do. Now, I'm not advocating, like, Panth needs all these giga buffs, because he's a, like, jack-of-all-trades kind of champion. But this would be a nice buff without actually buffing his damage items. Or, sorry, without actually buffing his damage ratios, is to give him shield break on his Empower W. This way it's only single target as well, by the way. Serpent's Fang is multi-kit. So if you queue someone, like 5 people, applies on all of them. And again, like, yeah, building Serpents is terrible as well. Right? Nobody wants to build it. It can save us so much gold. Continue building whatever you want. And then, yeah, so the shield break would help greatly when we're trying to burst someone. I mean, enemy opponents already have durability patch stacked on top of them. They get free armor and free HP later on in the game. Like, and now we have to deal with shields. We gotta deal with other things as well. Scaling, etc. This would be, genuinely, I actually think this would be a nice buff without breaking him. How much does it affect the early game? Barely nothing. It still will be slight increases, because there's some champions that have shields during laning, for the early game, right? Like Rumble, Skarner, Udyr, Karma top. But all these like disgusting champions can actually finally maybe we can like have a slight chance again. Like how raise of hands in chat. Okay, tell me in chat how many times you face a Starner top and he just spams that shield, or how many times you face an Udyr top and he just spams his W, Giga shielding yet again. Can't kill these dudes, man. Like dude, there's so many champions in the game in the top lane that has shielding. Udyr, Starner, Urgot, Rumble, Karma, even Olaf, Riven, Mordekaiser, Set, almost all the Juggernauts. Like Sion, yeah. Like, dude, there's so many champions in top lane that have shields. You guys don't think about it, but Tom Kench, especially, yeah, Tom Kench, dude. He Giga hard counter span. If we get Innate Shield Breaker, oh my god. We actually have a chance against all these champions that you guys just said. Finally, my god. Do you actually have to buff Pants damage? No. So little Timmy in bot lane playing AD carry, he's not gonna complain. He doesn't even have shields, right? Or little Johnny in mid lane, like he's not gonna complain that much. He don't got shields. But he'll buff us, you know? Like, when we're playing like Shen again, yeah, Shen shields. Volibear shields, yeah. Dude, you think about it, right? I'm trying to get you guys to think. Think about how many top lane champions in the game has innate shielding. You guys, this is not common thinking, but like, dude, it completely destroys Pants all ins, all his damage, his bursts, his empowerments, everything. It completely changes these matchups, man. Especially when you're fighting. Like, this would be such a sick buff. And all the mages in the game have Seraph's Embrace now as well. They all rush that shit. Like, dude, man, I'm telling you, put in shield break into W so we don't need to build Serpent's Fang anymore. And then, yeah, we can have, like, you know, continue our damage going into mid and late. Because, yeah, shielding increases effectiveness going later in the game. It's a scaling mechanic. Because it's going to get increased by, you know, bonus HP, AP, AD, whatever scales off of. The bigger the shield, the less damage you do later on in the game. So it doesn't nerf our damage going into mid and late. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, support enchanters will give Giga shields, whatever. Sure, I mean, it'll be a slight buff for him in support, but we're not touching damage yet. I think that's a fair way to go about it. Unless, if you don't want to destroy shields completely, because the way Pantheon works with W is he usually engages with it, then he can use it. It doesn't have to be 100% then. So instead of complete damage shield break, you do 50%. You give him an innate Serpent's Fang. So the W, empowered W cuts all shields by 50%. Lingering for like 2 seconds, 2 whatever Serpent's Fang is. You put that passive on his W. So he doesn't have to build that item anymore. So this way, you don't have to perma save your W for their shield to be up. You can just use it immediately, and then even if they use a shield, it's... Big Flacco, yo, we need sustain? No, we don't. This is bronze level thinking. I explained it earlier, but Pant does not need sustain. If you want sustain, then build D-Shield second wind. He already has enough things in his kit. He does enough damage. I'm sorry, he has damage in his kit. He has point-click stun. He has some utility on his E. Blocks some damage. He has a global ulti. He already has Presence of Mind for his mana cost. He's a jack of all trades champion. He doesn't need all these little things to make him god tier. He doesn't need sustain. He doesn't need tankiness. He doesn't need shielding. Like, there are champions in the game that function fine without sustain. Right? If you really want sustain, you can increase his base health regen again. Because that thing got nerfed like 3 times. Doesn't need innate sustain though. No. Because he's not just Pantheon. He plays multiple different classes at the same time. He plays Assassin, he plays Bruiser, he plays Fighter, he plays, like, you can play Build and Tank. If we're thinking about Assassin, like this Talon, Garen, Darius, Mordekaiser, Fiora, they all have sustain, but they are locked in that one class. You cannot build them as Assassin. You see what I'm saying here?